I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I like read paper books and shit. I'm kind of old fashioned.
It's because you're
I didn't know,
45.
like, I'm thinking podcast, like, yeah, I'm 45. I'm an old man, right? We just started that today. So I didn't know if I was supposed to be. You're lucky I'm just not sitting here in my underwear, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, we don't know if you are or not.
Yeah, I know. We haven't seen the bottom half yet, but.
Can I get a spot?
Hey, man, can I get a spot?
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 You're looking at me. Stop looking at me.
Sorry.
You're
I make
psyching
people
me out.
nervous.
You're
I'm
psyching me
sorry.
out. All right, and we are back in the Can I Get a Spot studio with Mr. Andy Gundlach. How are you doing today?
Hey guys, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing
Oh,
awesome.
Living life.
Living life. The Texas weather over here is amazing. And how's the weather over there? I forgot to ask.
The Wisconsin weather is horrible. It's sleety, snowy rain today. Kind of peek out there. It's just like all icy, gray, and crap.
Yeah.
So thanks for rubbing it in there.
That is why
Sorry.
I don't live there anymore. And that is why I don't work for you anymore, Andy.
Yeah, I hear that.
Wisconsin weather, blame it on that, huh?
Yep, exactly.
Blame it on the weather.
Otherwise,
Okay.
I'd totally still be working for you.
Well, if I can manage to change that, I'm gonna call you up.
Yep. Yeah. Get the weather on track, and then I'll be
The
back.
weather gods.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, tell us a little bit about who you are in the Anytime Fitness world.
Yeah, I'm Andy Gundlach. I've been with Anytime Fitness Self-Esteem Brands since 2006. So what's that? That's got 17 years. 16 years.
Yeah.
Bad with math, but yeah, right around there. And I own 31 Anytime Fitness locations and 3 Basecamp Fitness studios. I kind of opened about 3 a year for like the first, 14, 15 years, 13, 14 years, whatever it was. I'm bad with math, as you can see. But yeah, been doing it, still do it every day. Love every minute of it. I started in high school, actually, with Pizza Hut of Southern Wisconsin, which working for a local franchisee. The guy lived here in Middleton, Wisconsin. He owned, at the time, like around 30 Pizza Hut locations. And, I just started as a delivery driver, and I was in high school and stuff. And the CEO of Pizza Hut, Jim Williams was his name. He kind of would come into our restaurant and stuff. And I got a good relationship with him. He kind of liked how I worked and stuff, and for physical therapy program and stuff. And I was taking some class at MATC out of high school and about to transfer. And then I got an opportunity to kind of progress my career just at Pizza Hut. So, I ended up, kind of taking a pause on school, jumping into Pizza Hut, working my way up to director of operations for Pizza Hut Southern Wisconsin. And, it really kind of taught me everything about business. It kind of gave me a great groundwork. It was one of the most well-respected, well-ran Pizza Hut franchises in the country, actually. And, so it just laid a lot of good groundwork for my future. I wanted to kind of put, kind of a passion, to my franchise experience I had with Pizza Hut. And I started just looking online for different opportunities, and I really gotten into working out at the time. I was a member at the Princeton Club, which is a local health club around here. And, that was kind of my go-to, my getaway. I was there an hour, 2 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, and just got a real passion for exercise and stuff. And, there just wasn't a lot of options in the Madison area. And, I was looking online for some franchise. I actually started, funny story. It was like 2001, 2002. And I was looking online. I had sent an inquiry into Anytime Fitness, an online inquiry. I'm like, oh, this looks pretty cool. They maybe had like 20, 30 locations at the time, and no one frickin' called me back.
I believe it.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, well, screw it. I just kept working at Pizza Hut. And then it was like 3 years later, it was 2005. I was driving around Illinois, Belvedere, Illinois, actually, for working. I worked at the Pizza Huts down there. I was overseeing those, and I saw an Anytime Fitness. I'm like, oh shoot, that's that. That's that franchise that I had applied to. I put an inquiry in that never called me back. So I kind of whipped the Yui, went in, went back in, walked in. I wanted to kind of check it out. It's the first one I've never seen, in person. And man, it was just a jaw-dropping club. It was a beautiful facility. The owner was there of that. Look, I forgot her name now, but she's not in the system anymore. But I ended up kind of just shooting the shit with her for like an hour about the brand. And I just was like, man, this just makes sense. She had all brand new Life Fitness, hammer strength equipment, the treadmills, at the time, that's kind of more of a concept. And, I just got excited about it. And she gave me a direct contact phone number to a guy. Made a phone call after I left there, literally from my car, and he invited me up. I went up that next weekend, and literally within a week, I think I had bought my first territory. So yeah, I was back 2005, opened my first location 2006, and kind of grew from there.
So how
That's
old?
kind of a little bit of the pre-story.
Yeah. How old were you when you bought your first territory then?
You had to ask that, man. You're dating me, man. So,
Yeah.
2005, I was 7 years out of 25, 26. Would that be right? Yeah. No. No, that'd be 28, 28, 27, 28.
Okay.
I think I got my first location open when I was 28, 29, right around there. So,
Okay. That makes
Dang.
sense.
so yes, that does make me 45 now.
I wasn't doing the math.
Yeah.
I just, all of our millions and millions of listeners want to know, how old realistically do they need to be to own a
Yeah,
business? No.
absolutely.
That's actually super interesting for me to hear because I have never actually even heard your backstory and I've known you for like 9 years. So,
No doubt.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Well, I'm glad
Actually,
to share it.
yeah, that was similar to Matt's path. I don't know if you know that, but he started at MATC and then um he went to lacrosse, but obviously didn't go the same
Ah,
route as you after that. But
Yeah.
yeah, him and I
yep,
both went to
very cool.
lacrosse, but
So when that opportunity arose for you to get your first territory, I mean, what was the defining factor of like, man, I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna go all in right now. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
I was just telling someone the story. I really my goal was just to. I'm like, okay, if I can open one gym, you know, replace my income at Pizza Hut. If I can make a decent income, replace that, be a business owner, and just live in a gym. That was life to me. I mean, that was the initial goal. Well, I was still working at Pizza at the time, and we opened that location, and like half the members were coming in saying, "This is the coolest thing. Oh, this is a franchise. Oh, can I open one of these?" I mean, I was getting hit up every day, and all of a sudden people were calling me all around Madison, and I'm like, man, I gotta jump and do something, or these territories are gonna be gone. And so I'm like, I just, once I got it open, it became real. I think when you start, a lot of times, when you look at opening a business, there's a lot of that uncertainty and a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, you're nervous, like, is it gonna work, right? So at
Mhm.
the time, I'm like, if I can just do one, but then right when we opened, I just got that feel it's going to be huge, and people started looking into Anytime Fitness, and people are going to buy up territories. So then I'm like, shoot, let's go all in. I actually then purchased three territories. Yeah, it was kind of a two-stage thing, and within a couple months, I bought all the rights to Dane County, Wisconsin, which is the Madison area.
Wow.
so
Back then territories were cheap.
that's
Back
what
then
I was just
they
gonna
were
ask.
2 or 3 grand. I didn't have a lot of money, trust me. So it was like, I'm like, okay, 4-3, and then I actually cashed out my 401k at Pizza. I was still working there at the time to buy the rest of the territory of Dane County, Wisconsin. But I
Okay.
think it was like 40 grand for the whole county.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was gonna
Things did
ask. Like,
change.
where did the capital come from for that? But that makes total sense. So you said it was about 2 or 3 thousand per territory back then.
Yeah. Yep.
What
Yep.
are they
Yeah.
running
I
now?
definitely. Now they're 50 grand. I
That's what
think
I
if you're
thought.
not a
Wow.
franchisee, 40, 50
Shoot.
grand.
Yeah.
So
And which territory was your first one?
my first location that I opened was on the east side of Madison, Wisconsin, on Cottage Grove Road and Sprecher Road. I grew up in Cottage Grove, and Cottage Grove Road kind of leads there, so it's like 5 minutes from the town that I literally grew up in. So I was just real familiar with that territory, that side of town.
Mm-hmm.
So it just was kind of a poppin' little area, and yeah, we hired a phenomenal manager. You may have heard of him, Mike Tortorisi, that kind of blew that sucker up and got
Mhm.
us started on the right foot.
Yep, I've heard of him. So he was your first manager?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, okay. Mike started part time. Okay, Mike started part time. There was another manager that we had hired from Princeton Club that just didn't quite work out very well. But Mike started part time. He had a career. Was at M&I Banks. Mike was in the banking industry, and so he just, he was like me, kind of a gym rat. I knew Mike from the Princeton Club. Actually, we'd see each other, run into each other, working out all the time. So we kind of got to know each other a little bit. He lived real close by, and just stopped in and did it as a little part time job. And right away, you just, Mike, right? He's just got that infectious, all in personality.
Yep.
It's kind of like me, where I kind of dabbled a little. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll kind of try this out. And then you get the Anytime Fitness in your blood. You're like, I'm all in on this. And I think it was within a couple, Mike could probably tell you exactly, but within a couple months, he was running that club of starting.
Yeah. Wow.
Dang. So I mean, how many clubs do you have right now?
31 Anytime Fitness locations and 3 Base Camp Fitness locations.
So with all the clubs that you own, I mean, a lot of all north. If you had your pick of the litter, you could own a club at any location in the world and have that territory. Where would you want to be?
Why?
Yeah.
Why? That would be cool.
Matt and I
heard
went
they're
to a
killing it
couple
out there.
there.
They're doing real well out there too. It's like, it's like You still got United States laws. And it's like paradise. Hawaii it would be.
Yeah, Matt and I went to 2 when we were in Maui. They were really nice.
How were they? Were they pretty nice?
Yeah, they were good. I mean, they weren't Andy Gundlach, but they weren't that nice, but yeah.
So with running all these clubs and I mean you're the top man to go to. I mean, for anyone starting out with their one club, just barely getting in the door. I mean, what would you say is the best route to go in building a really strong team?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I'll say that is the number one, the most important question you need to ask and answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's holding out for that right person. I mean, this is what I focus a lot with my team on today. The labor market's tough. It's tough to find great people, but you got to wait until when you have the right person. Anytime if it's not a heck yeah or a hell, if you're interviewing something, you're like, yeah, I got to hire this person. It's a no. And it's so hard to be disciplined to do that because it might take some time, but you're so much better off to run tight or run lean or maybe do it all yourself for a little bit than to sacrifice or settle for someone that's not that top talent. Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing is stay true. When you have that home run of a person and don't waver from that. Anything else is just short term. It's going to slow you down. It might fill a hole today, but it's not going to help you scale your business. So you need that top talent. That's something that we've always focused on. And as you scale and as you get bigger, it gets harder, because you've got, your team's running your clubs and, there's a lot of different dynamics to running a club. And when you're overseeing 3-4 clubs and you have a club that's got a hole, it's like you want to fill it tomorrow. But filling it with that person that just might not have the passion or drive or be that right person for our brand, it's only going to handicap you in the future. So hold out for that talent. And when you have it, when you have a home run person. Anytime it's not a hell yeah, it's a no. It's kind of what I always tell people. If you're not like, you've got him, I'm like, I'll tell like my area managers, I'm like, are you excited for me to meet this person? Like, I've got to meet him because I'm going to be so impressed by him. If you're not saying yes to that, it's probably a no. And it's hard to do because we're tight, we're short. You might be working 50, 60 hours a week a little while, and that gets draining. But when you settle and sacrifice, you're going to be in that perpetual cycle of turnover. So, I think that's number one is just holding on for that right person.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I know with, we're a much smaller scale of things, we've been noticing that as well, that sometimes it is better to, hey, if I'm going to have to grind for a while, I'm going to have to grind for a while, but, we got to wait for that perfect person, and the perfect person will always come. Sometimes It just comes with
what I always tell Travis is you can't teach personality.
Mm-hmm.
So, when somebody's sitting with us in our interviews, if they've got the personality and the drive, like those are things you can't teach. So for me, that always outweighs their background, if they have experience or not. Those are things that you can teach them. So
absolutely.
Yeah, and then segueing on to that build, like the building of a team, waiting for that right person to come along to fill that spot, or the person who was just always destined to be in that spot. Let's fast forward a little bit on that side too, is how do you keep this awesome team that you built awesome? Because every job, everyone slips a little bit into complacency. I mean, how do you keep your team strong after you've already built it?
Great question. Yeah. I think it really comes down to engagement and building a relationship with those people and listening. You know what I mean? It's when you have a relationship and you're open with your people and, you have that, that conversation when you're looking for, what are they looking for in their career, in their personal life? And you can tie that to the job and how we can be that vehicle to get there. It's so crucial, versus, if someone, you treat people like just an employee. So it's getting them engaged, right? Tying them into more than just going in, working their 11 to 7 shift or something, ensure that they know the bigger picture, what we're all about. And then it's, kind of laying out that career path, right, as best we can and helping people find out what that means to them and help them hit that goal. And that doesn't, now, one thing too that I want to say on that is that doesn't always mean that career path might not always mean 10, 20 years with us, right? And that's okay. That's what I always tell my people too. It's like when you have a great performer and all of a sudden they want to own their own business, or if they want to, their dream is to move to Florida and do something. It's like, okay, how can we help facilitate that? And you build the skills you need, and we help launch and be the kind of the launch pad for that goal. That is totally okay. I think it's great for keeping them engaged, keeping them progressing, where they're given 100